Hello and welcome back to PODCLASS English, your go-to podcast for practicing real-life English conversations. Today, we're going to talk about something we all enjoy, traveling. We'll walk you through how to plan a trip, book flights, talk about itineraries, and even share some travel tips. Plus, you'll get to practice important travel-related vocabulary and phrases. I'm joined today by my friend Sarah, who's always got exciting trips lined up.
Hey everyone, I can't wait to share my travel plans with you. This is going to be fun.
Let's get started. So Sarah, any exciting travel plans on the horizon?
Yes, I'm heading to Bali next month. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. How about you?
That sounds incredible. I'm planning a road trip through the mountains soon, just to get away from everything and enjoy the fresh air.
Road trips are so fun. Do you already know your route or are you still planning?
I've got a rough idea, but I'll probably make some changes as I go. You know, I like to keep things flexible when it comes to road trips.
Yeah, it's great when you can just stop anywhere along the way. I'm the same when I travel. I always have a loose itinerary, but leave room for spontaneous adventures.
When talking about your upcoming trips, phrases like any exciting travel plans or I've been looking forward to it are great for engaging in conversations. It's also common to ask about the specifics, like, do you have a route in mind? Or, how long are you staying? Which helps keep the conversation flowing. So, Sarah, how do you usually plan your days when you travel? Do you have a set schedule or go with the flow?
I'm a bit of both. I like to have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't plan out every minute. For Bali, I'm planning to visit some temples, spend a few days at the beach, and maybe take a cooking class.
That sounds like a great mix. What's at the top of your list? I know Bali has a lot to offer.
I think the temples are a must-see. I'm excited to see Uluwatu Temple at sunset, and I heard the beaches are amazing for snorkeling.
That sounds incredible. For my road trip, I'm planning to visit a couple of national parks and maybe do some hiking, but like I said, I'll keep things flexible. Sometimes the best experiences come from spontaneous decisions. Talking about travel itineraries is another great way to expand your conversation skills. You can use phrases like, at the top of my list to highlight what you're most excited about, or I'm planning to share your intentions. Keeping the conversation flowing with open-ended questions like, what about you? Invites the other person to share more. Let's talk about the not-so-fun part of traveling, airports and flights. How do you usually book your flights?
I'm all about finding the best deal. I compare prices on travel websites and apps like Skyscanner or Google Flights. Have you tried any of those?
Definitely. I like to compare flights too. Sometimes I book months in advance to get the best price, but other times I just wing it last minute.
Same here. And when it comes to airports, I try to get there early to avoid rushing through security. Nothing stresses me out more than running to the gate.
Oh, for sure. I've been that person running through the airport, and it's not fun. These days, I also try to pack light, just to carry on if I can, so I don't have to deal with checked baggage.
That's smart. I tend to overpack, but for this trip, I'm going to stick with the essentials.
Talking about airport experiences is something we can all relate to. You can practice using phrases like, I compare prices when discussing how you book flights, or I pack light to describe your packing habits. Asking about someone's airport routine, like, do you get there early, helps keep the conversation engaging. Sarah, tell me about one of your favorite trips. What's a place you visited that stood out?
Oh, definitely Italy. I visited Rome and Venice a couple of years ago, and it was just stunning. The history, the food, the art, it was everything I imagined and more. What about you?
One of my favorite trips was a backpacking adventure through the mountains. I loved being out in nature, completely unplugged from everything. It wasn't a luxury vacation by any means, but it was so refreshing.
That sounds incredible. I think the best trips are often the ones where you disconnect and just enjoy the moment.
Talking about past travel experiences is a great way to use descriptive language. You can say things like, it was stunning, or it was everything I imagined and more to express excitement. You can also practice talking about specific details, like the history, the food, or the art. This helps paint a picture for the listener and makes the conversation more engaging. Let's talk packing. Do you have any tips or tricks?
I do. I've learned to roll my clothes instead of folding them. It saves so much space. I also bring packing cubes to keep everything organized. What about you?
I'm with you on rolling clothes. I also try to pack versatile items, like clothes that I can wear in multiple ways. Oh, and I always bring a portable charger for my phone. You never know when you'll need it.
Smart. I've also started bringing a collapsible water bottle. It saves space, and I can refill it at the airport once I'm through security.
That's a great idea. I'm adding that to my list. Talking about packing tips is a fun way to share advice while practicing your English. Phrases like "I've learned to" or "I always bring" are useful for sharing personal experiences. You can also ask others for their tips with questions like, "Do you have any travel hacks?" One thing I don't love about traveling is navigating busy airports. Any tips for getting through without too much stress?
I always give myself plenty of time. I get to the airport early so I'm not rushing, and I try to check in online ahead of time. It saves you from standing in long lines at the counter.
Good call. I do the same, and I also keep an eye on my flight status in case there are delays. It helps to be prepared in case anything changes.
Yeah, delays can be a pain. I always bring a good book or download some podcasts to keep myself entertained.
Dealing with airports is a common part of traveling, and there are plenty of ways to talk about it in English. You can use phrases like, "I always check in online," or "I keep an eye on," to describe your habits. It's also helpful to talk about how you handle delays, like, "I bring a book," or "I download podcasts." Thanks for joining us on this episode of PODCLASS English. We hope you found this conversation helpful for improving your English and getting some travel inspiration.
Yes, whether you're planning a trip or just dreaming about your next adventure, these conversations will help you practice English in real-life situations.
Make sure to subscribe for more real-life English conversations, and don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and tricks. Until next time, happy travels.